point in time, but we haven't even touched on the Kasi Career Expo, so I suppose it's a good thing. So you'll be hearing our discussion live. It is the second annual Kasi Career Expo, and this year it's being held in 3 different provinces, and the event aims to inspire and unlock the potential of high school learners, tertiary students and graduates who live in the township. Lack of career guidance, especially in townships and rural areas, have a direct negative impact on the future of young people. So to talk more about this, we're joined in studio by Frans Mashao. I got it right. Director of Wise Communications. It's so nice to meet you, Frans. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Lovely meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, something like this is so important. You know, obviously you were a part of the beginnings of it. Now this is going into the 3rd year. So I beg your pardon, the second year. So where did it all come from? I mean, obviously this is from experience with doing something like this.
True. So, I mean, a very short story. When I was completing my matric, and, you know, I grew up in the rural town of Muleji in Petersburg. I grew up in Tembisa, and I was privileged enough to go to a multiracial school in Kempton Park. But after matric, you know, the parents are struggling to put money together to take you to university. I started working at EXA, then started paying for my own fees at UNISA. Second year of my schooling, I decided, you know what, let me just go attend something called a career event at Boston Media House. And all it took was me being there with my matric marks, filled in a form, dropped it in a piece of paper, and I got a bursary.
Yeah.
You know, fast forward 3-4 years later, I started getting into business. And I mean, I've been in business for now over 7 years. And I decided, you know what, I've been in a position where I had been disadvantaged and I was unprivileged to be able to go into certain industries that I knew nothing about. And I thought, here's an opportunity for me to give back to the community that I come from and allow kids in Tembisa and across the country to actually gain access to, you know, innovative careers and not the traditional, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, mommy is a nurse and that's all I know. You know, so from a business point of view, I realized that it's actually, there's a gap between the industry players, the government sector, and the township students that go to these quintile 1, 2, and 3 schools. They basically have life orientation and career guidance at school, but it's not so in depth that they are in touch with what's happening in the job market. So we obviously then build a platform called Kasi Career Expo, put a brand behind it, and we launched it out of our own pockets, you know, no sponsorship, no funding, no nothing.
Brilliant.
We said there's a potential of these different clients that we engage with on a daily basis, so let's invite them in and put them on a platform where they can then expose our township learners to their bursary schemes, their scholarships, their all these different things, you know what I mean? And ultimately the first event went very well. 68 exhibitors, 220 schools that we visited to actually, you know, bus these students into these different areas. We did 4 provinces last year, and I mean this year we're basically affected by the elections. So one of the dates that we had initially set in December was the 3rd of August.
Yeah.
So we actually basically just
so move it around.
Move things around.
It wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to talk a little bit more about how this has grown. So it was obviously a phenomenal reception in the first year. This year is obviously going to be bigger and better. Have you found that there's been more of a buy-in, that sponsors are wanting to come on board now, that they've seen what you've proved and believe that this is the way to go forward?
Certainly. I mean, you know, every time there's a launch of an event, you know, the market is a bit wary of putting their money into an event because they basically say, put it out there, you invest in it first, and then once it's strong enough and taken off the ground, we can then back you, you know what I mean? So even some of the exhibitors last year that were like, yeah, we've been to some of these expos and they were not so high level and they were like, you know, falling apart and all of these things. We said, we're going to put on a show that you would find at a Sandton Convention Center in the middle of a rural town like Umlazi, in the pits of, you know, Tembisa, where basically these kids don't even have money to basically get onto a taxi and go to Sandton Convention and attend Career Week, you know what I mean? So we put on an inclusive show that basically brings the entire whole to life. So from about 60 odd something exhibitors last year, we basically across now the 3 provinces, we're looking at about 120 odd plus. So we basically doubled the number of exhibitors, but we still actually have more space for these exhibitors because we found bigger venues, we found more municipalities that can actually partner with us in being able to take this program into their different communities. And I guess, like we said, we just had to cut down in terms of the number of legs we're doing, but it's a program that will try to be the biggest career event in the country within the next 5 years.
I'm worried about the timing, though. I mean, when we talk about the fact that this is not school holidays right now, and you've got this going on, is that not going to hurt it a bit? Or do they come during school hours and you get a larger amount of kids coming through?
Certainly. So last year we did it through during school holidays. Some of the legs of the expo, and it was a bit challenging because kids, some of them, you know, they basically stay away from any activities that has to do with schooling.
Yeah,
you know, you're disturbing their leisure time. So
Yeah.
so when they're at school, it's much easier because we go into the schools, we speak to the life orientation teachers, we speak to the principals, and we bus these kids from the schools into the expo. And it's nice because at the time they're wearing the school uniforms, it's well coordinated and all of that stuff. So it's much more well organized during school time, and we trying to work very close with the Department of Education, who we're still urging to say, guys, we need you guys to endorse this program.
Yes.
It's a must-have.
So there's my question. They haven't endorsed it yet.
They haven't endorsed it.
I mean, what more do they need to endorse it? What is stopping them? Have you approached them? Have you had discussions?
Look, we have approached them. So for this year, they're coming on with their KETA program that they basically have been also doing in and around the schools. But we were saying we need the Deputy Minister of Education because he's also driving a big program such as this across the different schools in the townships, but at a very small scale, to say, come on board and let's us assist you in reaching your objectives and your mandate, because ultimately what we're trying to get to is the reduction of a 6% on the National Development Plan by 2030, and we're sitting at 26% of high unemployment rate in the country. So we're basically saying it's a private governance partnership that we're trying to push. So we're saying government and all these parastatals, come on board, let us assist you in being able to get to those constituencies that you're looking for, you know what I mean? And ultimately, I don't know what it is that they're looking for right now. We've built a brand, we've invested our own money into it, it's highly sustainable, we've got the market, and I don't know, maybe by the time they catch on the bus, it'll be more expensive.
And this, well, there you have it. And the reality is, I mean, these are the sectors of South Africa that need the help the most.
Yes.
You know, this is where there's a lack of information, there's the lack of just infrastructure and money and funding to help, and now there is help at hand. When we talk about some of the exhibitors, who is there? I mean, who's on display? What are they taking away from this? I mean, the kind of industries that are there.
So, I mean, one of the exciting things for this year is that we spoken to the South African Civil Aviation Authority, and they're very big on empowering young girls who wants to get into aviation.
Yes.
And they then said, listen, we came in last year at a very small scale, we just had one stand, but this year we want an entire row of aviation dedicated to the expo. So we're bringing all our different partners from, you know, the airlines to the engineering side and all of these things, and we'll do a whole section of aviation for the expo, basically trying to also urge young women to get into these different programs. But we've got from FET colleges, your universities, your Boston Media Houses, your UJs that we've invited, and then we get so we look at it from a three-phase point. We'd say, when you leave school, where do you go? Immediately, you either go to an FET college, or you go to a university, or you stay at home. So if you are within that bracket, we basically cater for you and say, if you are at home and you're unemployed, you don't have funds, who can fund you to go to school? So we have the likes of your APSAs also doing like financial literacy programs for young students, basically to teach them about saving and the different schemes that they have within their institution to basically assist young learners. We've got institutions like your SAICAs, the different parastatals, ESCOM. I mean, last year, ESCOM had a project with Roadtech and Roshcon. They were giving away 500 learnerships, and they basically used our platform to then get to those numbers. So some of the universities come in to get, you know, potential graduates, and some of the companies that come in, they're looking for, you know, students that they can take into learnerships and students that they can assist with bursaries and so forth. So it's a whole array of different exhibitors.
Fantastic. All right, give me the website or just details of when it is and where.
It's taking place 17th and 18th in Gauteng, in Meadowlands, at Bapedi Hall. Then we're going to Durban, at KwaZulu-Natal, at Ntuzuma on the 24th and the 25th. And then we're doing the last leg in Northwest in Rustenburg at the Civic Center. And www.kasiexpo.co.za is the
Excellent. Everything is on your screen. You can have a look at that, attend it, especially if it's in an area around you. You have to take advantage. This does not come around very often. So go out there, take advantage, and I think it's a fantastic initiative, and we wish you strength to strength. Frans Mashao is the director of Wise Communications behind this Kasi Career Expo. Right, we're nearly running out of time here, but we've still got time to squeeze in a little bit more bragging for the women of South Africa. They continue to break gender barriers in male-dominated industries. Now, over the past 2 decades, the number of women in these industries have steadily